Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silverline Silver Sunday. I gotta adjust my cameras a little bit. Welcome on this October the 8th, 2023, the year of our Lord. I am your host. I am Roland Man, and I am joined by the all-around con artist, Mr. Thomas Floramonte. What's up, Tommy?
Howdy do.
And I am also joined by what I hope is a new regular on our Sunday streams, Mr. Tom Mason.
And Troublemaker, too. Hello, everyone.
That's right. Oh, you know what? We can actually fix you up here, Tom. Watch this. We have magic.
Excellent. Make me younger and thinner.
Oops, hold on. I need a capital T. Top Troublemaker. There you go.
There. Excellent. I feel better about myself now.
How y'all doing tonight?
Excellent. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I have another screen up here, so if you guys see me looking up, I think we talked about this last time. Brett is competing in a tournament, and today's the second day of a 2-day tournament, so they have to make the top
Baseball?
8. I'm sorry?
Baseball?
No, it's like baseball. They shoot bullets and people die, so
That's not baseball.
No, that's more like a stadium.
yeah. So they're currently not in the top 8 right now. I think they're, last I saw the standings update, they were at 12th. So they have got to move up some. They have to finish in the top 8 in order to move on to the next round. This round they're guaranteed money, but it's the next round that they really want to go to because the money is better next round.
Of course, that's and Daddy can be even prouder.
That's right. That's right. It's fun to watch them. I think I've said this before, but you watch a football game and there are announcers announcing what's happening on it. The same thing happens in esports, and I didn't know this until Brett got active in it. But that's what's up on my screen right now. I can't hear them. I've got them shut off because it would be way too distracting. But they are announcing their matches. They're just starting their second match of a 6-match night. So they came in 6th in the first match. So that's good. They've got to keep
the one from last week. Because we talked on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? No, it was, I guess it was last Sunday. He was in another tournament as well.
Yeah, that was so they do them in stages. They call rounds essentially. So
right.
they start with I want to say they started with 64 teams, and let's see what 16. I guess they had 4 what they call lobbies. A lobby is a group of teams. So the 64 they have that's a 2-day tournament, and then they cut them down to 32. A couple of days later, they have the next round. From 32, they go to 16. From 16, then they go to 8 that move forward to play in this. And this is where they're actually playing against the professionals. Cool. So, yeah.
Pre-COVID, there were a couple of these that they were doing live where everyone would travel to one arena and there would be an audience.
Yes.
So I assume now there are also opportunities to do it from your house.
Yeah. Well, so I think the first, I can't remember. I think, if Brett were here, he could tell us. I think what they do is they have this one, and they have to win this one, and then this one goes to like a big worldwide tournament, and then they traveled. I think they're going to Korea this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The good one, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The good one. It's I've always enjoyed the fact that when we talk about Korea, it's South Korea that's the good one, not North Korea. I just think South is better usually.
I don't know if I'd want to go out of the country to go to either of the Koreas. So.
I'll give it to you for barbecue.
Okay.
And maybe college football.
Oh, of course, college football. Yeah. Although my Razorbacks aren't doing so good this year. Oh, wait a minute. How do I still have Winsy Wham up there?
I don't know. I was going to see how long you were going to notice.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
It amuses me.
So before we get too busy, Tom, I found I told you I've been going through stuff. I found a stack of papers.
Oh, good Lord, look at that.
Send your way. This is for you. It includes things like
is it some of the assignments that you were supposed to do back at Malibu that you never turned in?
No, I'm not going to show you this one, but I am going to send it to you. But I got things like a business analyst report.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah, that's great. I got a couple of those.
Yeah, I got Tom's 1993 San Diego comic or convention diary.
I would love that too. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm pretty snotty in that one, I think.
Yeah, you were. So yeah, there's why do I have this in here? You can't have that. That's my notice of my shares for Malibu. And then I've got anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff, things like sales charts and things like that.
Oh, yes, please.
Yep. These are all I have set all of these aside for you. And they're great. I wish I could tell you they're probably not in any kind of order,
Doesn't matter.
But these are just things I found that I had in my
Sweet.
in my random folders as I was going through and cleaning things out. So these are all set aside. I actually even found this, which I thought was kind of cool. It is The Deal Is Done.
Oh yeah, the original memorandum.
Yep, from Scott about the sale of the company. You see that November 3, 1994, 4:55 a.m.
So does that have all the secrets that everybody keeps asking about all the time?
No, I don't know, but I love the fact that it says, please read only the material in the corporate statement.
Right. They don't go off book.
Right. Yep. We have a script for you.
Don't start to riff.
Don't tell us how great it's going to be or how bad it's going to be. I remember telling people, one of the things that we had to do, you guys had us do, is we had to call all of our freelancers before the word got out.
Yes.
And I still remember, most of the reactions were as you might expect, but I still remember Steve Gerber's in particular. Well, it was fun while it lasted, Roland. I enjoyed it. We're done, though.
Well, I never got it. You never called me.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
You just don't remember it.
No, I do remember. I think I saw it on. I think I was at a convention and somebody told me.
Oh, maybe that's why I couldn't reach you. You were at a convention.
Maybe
so. Also, Roland said he never liked you.
That's true.
So
I'm not hiring that guy again. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. We got a couple of comments here. J.E. What's up, J.E.? Nice of you to swing by. Sunday again. It's like there's one every week. It is like that. I feel like we were just here last week. We have a Kickstarter launching in 2 days. I don't have the video finished that I can show you. Not today. It'll be finished probably late Monday night. But we'll have it up on here for us to show next week. So those of you who are at your computer, www.silverlinecomicscrowdfunder.com. Go on over there and you can follow the campaign so that you'll be alerted and you won't forget about it when it launches, because we would not want you to forget about it. We want you.
Also, it's good for the algorithm.
It is good for the algorithm. It really is. The more
that's what they tell us anyway.
Yep, the more that we can get, more follows that we can get, it's better for us. Kickstarter sees that, and I don't know how they do it, but occasionally they can put us on those. That's only ever happened to us once. The Kickstarters we love. I'm not sure who we need to pay to make that happen, and I'm not really even sure that helps any, but it would be nice to get it.
My understanding is a lot of it depends on how much action you get on your first week, or your first day, or your first whatever.
Okay,
and that clicks over into the algorithm or the computer or whatever the robot is that keeps track of this stuff. And then somebody human looks at it and goes, "Oh, they got a lot of traction.
We love this.
Let's go back. Let's go back somebody who's already winning."
Right. Yeah. So I
think it'll show up on that homepage too whenever.
Yes. Yeah. The very first one.
If we can get it again.
So Tommy, how was your vacation?
We had a great time. It was wonderful.
I did not also realize until Facebook told me that it was Renee's birthday. So she had a.
Oh, that's why we went to Disneyland.
I didn't know. You just said I'm going to Disney. Going to the real. I think you said I'm going to the real Disney.
No, I don't think I said that. I said we were going to Disneyland, and then everybody beat me up saying, "Why aren't you going to Disneyland when you go to Disney World?" And then I finally had to stop. I had to ban people because I get tired of hearing it.
Ban people.
I sure did.
Well, I'm glad that y'all got to go and celebrate Renee's birthday in grand fashion.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Did you go on the Star Wars stuff?
Well, we can do that here too. But yeah, no, I did it. We did it all. Yeah, we did everything. It's the same stuff but different. You know,
Right.
I mean, if you're a true Disney fan, you got to go back to the motherland every now and again just to see.
Right.
It's the same stuff. They just talk different out there.
Well,
Well, you can get kale in the gift shop.
You can get fried kale in Orlando.
Because nothing says healthy like fried kale.
Fried kale. Yeah, it was fun. We had a great time.
Well, we missed you on the stream. Glad to have you back. I know I got your first day, or one of your first days back. You're like, I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, you need a vacation from your vacation.
We were exhausted.
I always think that's the way to do it, is that you go on vacation and then you should be allowed to have like 2 days.
Yes, to recuperate
Afterwards, where it's
We
just
did.
like you're just a lump where you can just
We
watch
did.
TV.
We got back a couple of days before work, and then just relaxed.
Yeah, let's see. That's all you do.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you just kick your feet up on the couch and watch shows. I've been hearing about the new Loki. We got to watch the new Loki, so we haven't.
I heard really good things about the first episode, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
We thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, haven't watched it yet, but it's on our list. So we have a great big list of things that we are supposed to. I didn't realize you could see us that much on my bookshelf.
I still got to finish The Expanse. I still got to finish Bosch. I still got to finish a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
Dang, you're behind.
I'm way behind. And on some shows, I'm like almost a decade behind. I'm way out of the conversation on some things.
So my daughter, speaking of a decade behind, my daughter has she likes Friends, right? And I've never been a big friend. Now I like Jennifer Aniston.
She likes what? Friends.
Friends,
Like
a TV show.
20
Friends.
years later, she likes Friends.
Yes.
Oh, okay, it's
she
kind of
thinks
bad now when you watch it. You look at it and you go, "Ooh, that doesn't hold up at all."
Right.
Well, it's funny because she likes it, and I was never a big. I didn't hate it, but I was never a big Friends fan. And I keep sending her these memes are all over the internet about Friends, like about how it's not funny.
Right.
She keeps responding, "It's funny to me. I like it. It's funny to me." I said, "You need to watch Seinfeld. Now that's funny."
Except for the first season and a half. Those were
Seinfeld.
Yeah, that wasn't funny. That was a train wreck.
It's only once they let Larry David sort of loose
Yes.
and be his own guy,
Yeah.
and break away from the traditional sitcom format that they seem to be trapped
You watch the first season or season and a half, you're like, how did it make it to season
Right.
3? Because it was
Right.
so bad.
Now who's Larry David?
But then it got really good. Then you're like, wow.
Well, it's a
this
lot
is
like The
really
Simpsons. The first couple seasons of The Simpsons are pretty weird too.
good. Yeah, it is really weird.
Maybe that's why I never watched The Simpsons. I watched some of it and I just went, I don't like this. Who's Larry David?
He's a creator of the creator or co-creator of Seinfeld.
Yeah,
Okay.
him and Seinfeld guy.
Yeah,
I
and then he
didn't-
also
I did
did
not know.
a show called Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was on HBO.
Okay.
Where it's basically
It's
the
his
thing about Larry
story.
David. He's in reality he's George Costanza,
Yeah.
and in Curb Your Enthusiasm, he walks around Los Angeles interacting with famous people and sort of the daily complaints about living in California and celebrity culture and stuff like that. But it's really just George Costanza just walking around bitching about stuff. It's really it's funny, but it's that kind of uncomfortable funny.
Yes, it makes
Yeah.
my wife every time she sees it. She goes, "Oh, that guy really good."
Well, I think George Costanza was funny on Seinfeld.
funny.
So.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, tonight's topic is secret headquarters and secret layers. We're going to talk about those for our characters, so or any characters, I guess. So it's just kind of wide open. There's nothing particular about it, but I figure what we'll do is we'll start with let's talk about some of the most famous ones. What are some headquarters and secret layers that everybody knows?
Baxter Building.
The Baxter Building, that's a good one.
Because the Baxter Building was essentially just a real building in Manhattan, and Kirby had done one of those great cutaways where you could see all the different levels of all the stuff that Mr. Fantastic supposedly was able to fit in a building, and everybody at least in the early issues of the FF. Everybody in town seemed to know that's exactly where they lived.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they had a regular mailman. They said hi to people on the streets. They'd go out in public and just, pick up a newspaper or get a cup of coffee, and Ben Grimm would put on a hat and a trench coat and just hang out with people. And
nobody would recognize him, of course, in the hat and trench coat.
Right, because that's
who's that guy?
It's like when a linebacker goes out in disguise.
Right.
And so that may not be the most famous, but that's easily recognizable as a character in the early FFs. And then there's the Batcave.
Of course. Yeah.
I would.
That's the one I was going to bring up. That's probably for me the most iconic one, I guess.
Yeah, I would say that's probably for me. That would have been my answer as probably the first one that comes to people's mind is the most, as Tommy said, the most iconic is that people think about the Batcave.
Yeah, because you saw it. I mean, you saw it every episode of the TV show.
Yeah.
And so that's really
because it was so cool, going through the secret woods area and the little fence would open the wall and driving there. That was
right.
Cool. Everybody wanted one of those. You're like, Dad, Mom, can we do that to the garage? Can we do some sort of edge to make it so we can drive through it?
And I want a sign that says, Gotham City 14 miles or whatever.
Yeah.
When you're fighting crime, you want to be 14 miles away from where the crime is.
Right. That's why.
And what's so weird about it, obviously now we know what it is. It's right behind Bruce's house, right. So it's like, it's really weird that the Batcave is right behind Bruce's house. And that kind of,
right.
I mean, we didn't know
Maybe they'll not figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, I think it was wasn't it the Keaton movies in which the car came out. When it came out, it went through like a waterfall. The cave entrance was a waterfall, and he went. Wasn't it? He shot through the water and get on the.
Shoot, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
Yeah,
I've blocked the Keaton movie out of my head.
It wasn't my favorite Batman's either.
No, it was. I don't think it. I liked the movie when I first saw it. I don't think it ages well.
Yeah,
I
haven't seen it in a while.
And then Superman had that stupid Fortress of Solitude.
Well,
where he was where he would just, it's way up in the Arctic or whatever, and he has this giant silly key where he has this that also doubles as an arrow for lost airplanes or something like that. and then he unlocks this massive door, and then he just goes and sits in the ice and hangs out.
Yeah, you kind of wonder how many times he actually went there.
Right.
And the thing is, why did he build this? Why is it an ice fortress?
Right.
Well, because if you had an ice fortress in the middle of the woods, it would look obvious. You would see it. You'd be out hiking, and you would see this big ice mountain in the middle of the woods. You would think it was something from Frozen or something, Disney movie or something.
And it's like the undiscovered country, because the Arctic and whenever the Fortress of Solitude was invented was, had a mystique about it, as it's a place where people don't really go. Right. And now there's a Starbucks there, so it doesn't really, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
But he would just go there and sit in the ice and,
think about stuff.
Yeah. I guess so. Here's my other question though. So this is Superman. So why is it an ice fortress?
Because it was made out of all those crystals, and it just happened to form into this ice thing. Remember because all of their technology was stored on data crystals or whatever the heck that was.
So I'm not Superman knowledgeable enough to know. Was that the original? Again. What's that? We need a historian
again.
Yeah. Was that the original? Was that the way it's always been?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I mean, I can, my memory, as far back as a kid, knowing Superman, I remember the Fortress of Solitude, and it's always been in the ice.
Right.
But I never could figure out why it was in the ice.
I could never, because it never, when you see the Batcave, you get why it's there, and you get why Batman has all the stuff there. And when you see the Baxter Building, you get why that exists.
Makes sense.
And Rob Davis just commented about the Legion of Superheroes headquarters, so you understand that.
Yeah.
And then the Justice League of America used to have that dorky satellite that or space station that orbited the Earth where they could watch everybody. So there's that. But the Fortress of Solitude was like, I'm just gonna sit here and contemplate and think about things maybe I did wrong. And
I always thought the Hall of Justice for the Super Friends looked like ultimately looked like a Darth Vader helmet.
Oh, the helmet.
Yeah,
from the cartoons for sure. Yeah.
Isn't the Cincinnati, Ohio City Hall building or something like that? It's based on a real
real
building.
I did not know that.
I didn't.
Yeah. Well, some historian will weigh in and correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's I'm pretty sure it's based on a real existing building.
Rob Davis also adds, Rob, good to see you here. Not out driving for the athletes.
Oh,
Tesseract, like the TARDIS, bigger inside than outside. Yeah, the comics are good about doing things like that, right?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Right. He also weighs in about Doc Savage. There we go.
Doc Savage had a Fortress of Solitude at the North Pole. Direct influence.
Now that I didn't know either.
So there's three heroes at the North Pole. There's Doc Savage, there's Superman, and there's Santa.
Yeah. Well, and there's also, I don't know if you remember this one, Tom. There's also Hugo Danner, who was Gladiator, which supposedly is the novel that Superman.
There we go. The Philip Wiley guy.
Yep. So
okay. So everybody ripped everybody off, decided to have a Fortress of Solitude up at the North Pole.
Yeah. I still, the North Pole is still one of those that's kind of hard for me to think, why the North Pole? There's so many other, and I get that it is solitude, right?
Right.
So no one's going to find you in the North
Nobody's
Pole.
going there, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is special when you take your girlfriend up there, like Superman would take Lois Lane and show her, this is my empty ice house where I do nothing all day.
Can't you imagine having super babies running around here with no one to talk to?
Well, they wouldn't run off too far, would they?
Clark, I'm going crazy at the ice house. There's no cable. There's not nothing. The kids have nothing to do.
Watch the polar bears.
That's right.
All right, so we got Baxter Building.
The X-Men house.
The X-Men, yeah.
Which is another thing like the Tesseract that has to be huge inside.
Yeah,
compared to what it looks like outside.
Yeah. Well, and I think so we ended up playing the video game here in early 90s. No, that couldn't be right. Early aughts, because we played with the kids. And they had that's when they had it kind of designed. So you go in and they have the regular mansion level. Upstairs has the rooms, but then you got on the elevator and you went down, and that's when you got into all the secret, the danger room and where Cerebro is and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's hidden.
There's also a Titan's Tower, the big T.
Yep. Rob just added that as well.
Oh, there we go.
You guys thinking the same lines there.
Yeah.
The big T.
Because that's really secret.
Yeah. Or you got in the movies anyway. You got Iron Man's the Tony Stark building was his.
Yep. Right. Stark Tower.
Where's Iron Man hanging out? Oh, it's in the big Tony Stark building.
Right. That's you can see it.
Yeah.
That's right. Who's going to attack that? Nobody. We don't know who's there.
At least he's right in the middle of Manhattan, so he's
where
he puts
doesn't
himself
have to go there very far to do anything. Yeah.
But see what I don't understand really is if you have a group of heroes, why they all need to get together in costume? Because you have the Titans Tower and you have the Justice League headquarters and you have all this stuff where it's like they could just call it in on Zoom or whatever and work from home. They don't have to.
You're thinking about today's technology though, and that didn't exist when these things first came up. So
yeah, but they're not passing legislation. They don't need a quorum to get things done. They're not taking up dues or anything. So
hold on though. Are they not? Because the Avengers, I seem to recall, the Avengers had Avengers,
didn't they?
They had Avengers. Yeah, they had Avengers Mansion.
Right.
That also happened to be, if I recall, owned by Tony Stark.
Right.
Was it?
And
Tony Stark was their benefactor. And a butler.
I don't remember.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Jarvis.
And wasn't it government funded?
No. Now that might have changed later on. I don't know.
For some reason,
I wouldn't swear to that. But no. Early on, Tony Stark was their benefactor, right. and they did have like Avengers rules and regulations, and they had roster.
They had to pay dues to be part of.
I don't think they paid dues, but
and they had to do chores.
Yeah,
but
sweep, that kind of thing.
But it used to be.
Jarvis was for.
It used to be a big thing when they would have an election and they would announce a new leader of the Avengers and they would announce a new lineup, and that's how characters would come in and out.
Yes, yeah. And so I think they had bylaws, the Avengers bylaws. That's the word I was trying to think of. They had some of those.
But what could they be really?
I don't know. Iron Man can't leave his screws all over the place.
Somebody put the lid down. They're winning here.
Thor can't leave his hammer on the toilet seat.
Right. What a joker.
Rob says Tony Stark's townhouse was Avengers Mansion. Okay, well there you go.
All right.
Yeah. I knew that I remembered that it was Tony Stark somehow. I just didn't remember all the specifics. So what about bad guys?
That's a good one. Where did the Joker hang out?
They have places they go, right?
But Joker always seems to be, in the comics anyway, Joker always seems to be in a different place from time to time.
But he always had money and he always had ways to set up headquarters.
Yes.
All the time. Where did he get his? I think the question is, where did he get his money from? Apparently he was stealing it a lot.
Right. He's a villain. He stole it. Or he holds the patent to all the Joker licensing. So Warner Brothers gives him a cut.
Yeah.
He picked your pocket when you walked by and you didn't even know.
Right. He's always making $50 an hour or something, just picking somebody's pocket.
Yeah.
Because it never occurs to you to go, hey, look, it's a clown. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah. So because he was a clown, and this is where I'm not sure I remember, or I don't know Batman well enough. Wasn't the Joker's hideout in a like a carnival?
Well,
every time.
Gee, Al, hey Batman, use your gigantic brain. Where's the clown hiding?
Well, I mean,
what is the local carnival going through town? That's where the Joker's hanging.
That's right. The circus came to town last week. I wonder if there's a correlation between between that and the Joker.
So help me out here. So here's what I don't know. Don't cities like doesn't like New York have a Coney Island? Isn't there like a permanent carnival or something there?
What's amusement park?
Amusement park. Okay.
So it's the Disneyland before Disney was born.
Yeah.
It's the Six Flags of New York.
Right. But because it's New York, they'll claim 8 flags.
8 flags. Rob says Lex Luthor had his tower headquarters.
Did he?
I don't remember that.
Another villain who advertises.
Right. So what other villains?
Now the Penguin.
I'm trying to think of any of the Spider-Man villains. Did they have any headquarters other than your you know?
So this may be what I'm remembering. Rob says Joker did have his headquarters in an abandoned funhouse in a few books. That might be what I'm remembering.
Holy hot dog stand, Batman! Do you think the Joker's hiding in the old abandoned funhouse?
No, could not.
I don't know, old chum. That's
old chum.
I wonder if the Penguin's at the Umbrella Factory.
He's at the zoo, wasn't he?
We can't find him.
Hanging out with the penguins. Where was he? No, where was he in the movie? In the movie, he was. Yeah, wasn't he? Where
he had a penguin farm or something like that.
Yeah. Then it was cold, and all the penguins were hanging out there. He was with them, quacking and waddling.
Because that doesn't get irritating. It's no wonder he's insane.
He's not a happy fella,
right? Well, I think Catwoman had a lair,
did she?
Some kind of penthouse apartment.
Yeah.
Her lair was her house. That's where she.
Right. Yeah.
Well, And that was one of the things I was going to ask, is that some of them, right, they end up just being their homes or
that's Spider-Man's, right? He lived at the house.
Well, okay, so you talked about Spider-Man. So his Green Goblin, right? Green Goblin's lair was in Osborn facilities, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Because it was a laboratory, so he needed to make all, because pumpkin bombs aren't cheap. Somebody's got to make that stuff,
right? And those
repair the glider.
And the glider, yeah, that's right. But it was a secret laboratory in Oz. Was it always called Oscorp? I can't remember.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It was always his company, but I can't remember if it was always called Oscorp.
And Kirk Connors had a lab too.
Yes, yeah. So for those of you who don't know who Kirk Connors is, that's the Lizard.
He had to maintain a moistness. he couldn't dry out.
He had those things that you see in restaurants sometimes, constantly spraying
mist. That's right. Because when in Aquaman's penthouse, he would have that too, because he couldn't be dry after an hour. He had to be.
So what Fantastic Four bad guy had a whole continent? No,
Dr. Doom.
Right? Yeah. His hideout was the whole country.
Right. Right. I wonder where Dr. Doom is. Oh, I don't know. I bet he's president of his own company. Maybe he's there.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go look there.
Yeah.
There's a funny Luke Cage story where Dr. Doom owes Luke Cage like $200, and Luke Cage just marches over into the castle and says, "Give me my money." He knows where he is. Dr. Doom isn't hiding.
I missed that one.
Well, I think it's an Englehart story.
Oh no. Let's see. So it's Dr. Doom then.
And I think Dr. Octopus had some kind of lair. But it was more like a
Who did he?
A lot of these guys are like laboratories,
right? A lot of them are scientists that
right.
That's what ended up creating them, is they had some kind of lab accident, and so now they have arms or wings.
Right, now they work out of their lab.
Yeah,
and then they just stay. Their employer, I know you have these weird arms off your back, but you can keep working as long as you.
Right. Listen, he pays the rent on time. That's all that matters.
That's right.
He can't really throw him out. There's no clause that says that he has to be a good guy.
Well, no, that would probably be discrimination of some sort.
Right, that's right.
Here we go. Rob says, in Batman Returns, the Penguin lived in Gotham City sewers. He goes, he looked it up.
Wow.
Oliver was a typo, probably an autocorrect. So yeah, he lived.
The turtles also lived in the sewer.
The turtles live in the sewers.
Yeah, which is the other day.
But so they have a special sewer room though, don't they?
They did. They had a place where they could sit and eat pizza and watch TV and practice their stuff. So they were
cool.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they gave it a name though.
Home.
Oh, that's right.
Let's go back to the secret headquarters.
It should be called the Shell.
Man Thing had a swamp.
An entire swamp.
Yeah, it's an entire swamp.
I was going to see if I could pull up a Google here. I guess we'll depend on everyone else to Google for us.
That's right. If you're out there, historian, please Google.
That's right. Rob said, yeah, it was autocorrect. So what do you think and of course we haven't gone through all of them, but what do you think, in just your thinking, what do you think may be the silliest of all the headquarters? And this could be villain or hero.
Silly.
Well,
it's kind of like we said earlier, though, like the Batcave, that makes sense, right? I mean, he's Batman. He lives in a cave. Or his headquarters in a cave. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I've seen that.
It's where bats stay, so he just built his thing around the bats, right?
Yeah.
That worked out. That's good for him.
And I've seen that massive Dick Sprang poster that he drew of the entire Batcave, where it's got everything. It's got
Yeah.
all of the stuff that Batman has collected from his various adventures over the years. So the giant penny is there.
And Batman's a hoarder, is what he is.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. He's a
it's
collector like
Lego
all of
Batman,
us.
right?
So I
We're
think
gonna keep every time we mention Batman, I'm going back to Lego Batman.
Yeah.
It's like you remember the cave from Lego Batman, right?
Yes.
He had everything.
He
It
had a
was
giant penny
huge.
in there too. Yes.
Yeah.
He's a collector like the rest of us.
Yep.
He fights a guy, he beats the crap out of him, he takes him to Arkham Asylum, and then he says, "You know what?
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
take
need
your
some
stuff.
souvenirs.
I'm taking your crap.
I'm taking the belt, I'm taking the boot, I'm taking the steering wheel out of your Joker mobile. I'm gonna put these things in my secret lair."
He's got a trophy case.
Yeah, that's right.
Never to use it again.
That's right. I'm gonna take Catwoman's garter belt. I'm gonna take all this stuff.
Woohoo!
That's right.
You're
I
not
wonder how
using
many-
it. It's
I
mine
wonder
now.
how many of the domino masks he's collected.
That's right. That's right.
He's got them hanging on a wall. Can you get match the mask to the villain? Right.
Right.
All these domino masks.
Well, if he gets 10, he gets a free pizza. So So I think Batman is, well, it depends. I think Batman's is the silliest because of all the stuff, but that also makes it the greatest because of all the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's fun to sort of look at photos or drawings of the interior of the Batcave and just think, my God, he's got everything.
Yes. Yeah. But he's a bazillionaire, so
right.
I've always wondered. So if Batman runs out of room in his cave, does he just dig more?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, sometimes I know it's hard to believe, but sometimes crime is slow in Gotham. And
he's got to excavate to make his place bigger.
So Batman is down there doing Minecraft, right?
That's right.
Bat excavator, and he goes in there. That's how he stays in shape.
Yeah.
You think he's doing it, or does he hire people?
Well, you have to kill him
Jarvis.
afterwards. Because
well, maybe he leads him. Bruce does it, and he says, "Look, I've got something in the basement. I need you to come work on." And he just has people go down in the basement, and then all of a sudden they're like, "This is weird," and then go dig over there. Go dig over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop looking around.
Yeah.
Worst Bruce Wayne pickup lines. Come on, I'll show you my bat pole.
That never worked except for Catwoman. That would work.
Right.
So I think the silliest one is still the Superman's Fortress of Solitude.
I would have to agree that that's got to be the silliest, unless someone can come up with something else.
I am sure there are Superman scholars right now who are steaming at my statement, and I'm sure that there are people who have written Superman who find flaws in my logic. But it's just, for all the power that he has and for all the things that he can do, why wouldn't he just have a thing in Metropolis?
Maybe he just wants a lot of cold drinks all the time. It's just easier.
But he's got freeze breath. All he's got to do is go.
Right.
No.
And they're all cold.
You keep messing it up.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I think that I'm kind of confused. Like, I don't mind the crystals. That's kind of a nifty alien, different than our human buildings kind of things. But yeah, the North Pole, the ice, the fact that I think it was probably ice and not crystals to begin with. I think is what, I think they've changed it because ice didn't make any sense.
Right.
And now it's crystals.
Because in the first Superman movie, when Superman makes the Fortress of Solitude, he throws that crystal.
Yes,
into the ice, and then the whole thing sprouts up.
Yeah, and it's not like it accidentally just ended up there. I mean, he basically took it there, right? And so it's not like he's like, "Here, I'm gonna fling it up in the air," and it just went.
Well, now, of course, in the age of there's like 4 billion satellites circling the Earth, and Google has mapped everything. It's pretty much,
Yeah,
he
can move. Yeah, he can move and be closer.
Right.
Yeah. The only all right, so let's play 1950s comic book writers now. So Fortress of Solitude is at the North Pole,
Right.
because that way he can react to danger anywhere in the world.
Any direction. He's
Any
in
direction.
moment's notice. He's right there. He's a 4-alert Superman. North, south, east, and west. I'm your man.
That's right. Rob says, I seem to remember a hunchback tech guy who worked in the Batcave during Norm Breyfogel's run. I don't recall that, unfortunately.
He's spine abled. He's not hunchback.
Spine abled. So that's one of. So Rob talked about it earlier when he said the Tesseract is like the TARDIS, bigger on the inside than the outside. A lot of these secret headquarters and villain lairs are that way, aren't they? You look at them. That's one of the things I always liked about Winnie the Pooh. Right. Winnie the Pooh.
Wait, where's this headquarters?
I don't know. Winnie the Pooh. He's got a door in a tree, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's a whole house inside.
And you open it, and there's this huge house in there. You're like, where did all this stuff come from? How did you get all that in here?
Well, he took it away from Trespassers Will.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. The sign. Yeah.
right. But it's when you're 7, and you see Winnie the Pooh for the first time, it doesn't, well, it's like the Flintstones house.
Right.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
How many times is Fred going to run from the front to the back? And you realize, geez, this is as long as 3 trains.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So his stone house is a Tesseract as well.
So, any more silly ones? Can we think any more silly ones? What does every headquarters or secret lair need? What does it have to have in order to be a headquarters or a secret lair?
Gizmos, gadgets, high-tech stuff. So in the 50s and 60s, it was all that goofy Star Trek technology where it's video monitors and listening devices and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the stuff is just everyday stuff today.
Yeah, now it's more. Yeah, now it's. Yeah, now everybody has a phone, so it's not really as magical as it might have been in 1955.
Yeah.
So you need that, and you need a place where you can bring your super friends, so you can all hang out. You need some kind of hero room.
Well, so
your computer had to have the big reel-to-reel disc on it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You had to have that.
They're constantly spinning and turning out, and you're getting. Yeah. You have like 5 TVs all tuned into worldwide news. So at a moment's notice, you hear that.
Oh, that's because that's the way you knew where to go.
Right.
Nobody could just,
That's what Rob Davis just said. A world map with monitors all around it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think y'all remember the Avengers had this great big table with a great big A on it. Y'all remember that? Avengers.
Yes.
That was their meeting space, right?
Yeah. Where they're passing legislation and collecting dues.
The bylaws.
That's right.
Yeah. So gadgets, gizmos. What about their vehicles? Is this where they store their vehicles as well?
Yes.
Yeah, because not everybody could fly. So
right.
It's true.
A lot of them can't. So the Flash doesn't need one, and Superman doesn't need one, but the non-flying ones.
Yeah. They gotta catch a lift, right?
Right. So as they got older, Dick Grayson had his motorcycle.
Yeah.
And Batman had his Batmobile. And I don't know what Wildcat used to drive. Metamorpho used to go around in the company helicopter.
What did Green Arrow have?
He had an Arrow car in the early Jack Kirby versions of Green Arrow.
I do not remember that at all.
Because it was because he and Speedy used to drive around in the Arrow car, and then in the Neil Adams Green Lantern, Green Arrow years, sometimes Green Lantern would make him a chair out of the ring, and would carry him around. And,
I'll give you a lift, buddy. Come on.
that's right. Hey, there's trouble ahead. Here, hop in my ring chair. Let's go. And then
I remember some of those.
but I think I don't remember him. I've forgotten what kind of vehicle he's had in other years.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember Green Arrow having any vehicles.
Did you watch the Arrow TV show?
I did, yeah.
What did he use in that?
I think he just had a motorcycle.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've seen it.
I think he
and
just
I-
showed up.
And I only watched like 4 seasons. It got real. I've been told apparently it got real CW-y,
Ah,
but it got real soap opera-y for me a little too much.
all right.
But I think we enjoyed the first couple of seasons. Really pretty good.
That's true of a lot of CW stuff. First couple of seasons really good.
That's kind of what I hear. So yeah. All right. What else? Vehicles.
Well, the Suicide Squad in the movie, they went around in a giant airplane,
Yeah.
or whatever. They didn't really have.
Well, their home base was prison, right?
That's right, because their base was. That's right. Their gadgets and gizmos were the ankle monitors.
Right.
No, they didn't.
They were kind of issued whatever they needed. I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
What about did you see the Peacemaker show?
I did not know.
Yeah, what was he riding in them?
They drove around in a van.
It was just a van. It was
Right,
just
yeah, it wasn't adorned.
no, it
with
wasn't
anything.
anything special. Yeah, it was just a van.
Right. It's like somebody took one of those old 1970s telephone repair vans and just hollowed it out, and so they're all just sitting there.
That's funny.
So it fits with the show.
Yeah.
That was pretty. It was pretty good show too.
Yeah.
So what about? I'm trying to think. Silverline characters.
What did Cat and Mouse do?
Cat and Mouse never. They just operated out of their. In the first volume, they just operated out of Jerry's apartment.
Right.
In the second one, so far, what they're doing is Brett. They're not together yet, right? So Brett is living with his good buddy Jesse. And of course, I can't give you the resolution because number 4 hadn't shipped out to folks yet.
Don't give away secrets. Right.
But so Mouse is still living with Widowmaker.
Okay.
Which will be so that will be at the conclusion of number 4. There will be changes.
So did they just get in the reliable Honda and
yeah, they don't have a place
to where they need to be?
That's pretty much what they've done this first one. Yeah.
All right, because that's pretty. I mean, that's different. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. There are no underground tunnels.
Right. Okay. Well, it's New Orleans. You can't build anything underground.
Yeah. Sorry. We that's a kind of a constant joke. You probably you remember Cat and Mouse was optioned, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I somewhere around here I'm not getting rid of that. I still have all the papers from the treatment from Trilogy Entertainment, and that was one of the things that we laugh about frequently here because I tell the story of how one of my comments back to them was like, you have underground tunnels in New Orleans and you can't have them. And their response was, it's a comic book. And I'm like, but no. And they ignored me.
Because I've heard you can't even bury people 6 feet down in New Orleans because you'll hit water.
They pop up.
The water table is so low.
That's why New Orleans has all the cool mausoleums, right? You associate New Orleans with all these cool mausoleums, and that's because you can't bury people underground.
Right. And it would seem like at nighttime or whatever, with all the cool cemeteries, that's better than having weird underground tunnels that couldn't exist.
You would think, but that was one of the comments that I made to them that they I can't remember how involved you were in that or not, but I still have my list. Here are my problems with your treatment, and that was at the top. And their comment, their response was basically, "It's a comic book. No one cares."
See, this is why you will never be a studio executive, Roland.
That's true.
You can't get with the program. You're still of the belief that people will care, and you should sort of follow some sort of logical rules in a fictional world.
Yeah, that was an interesting time. They'll always want to put in Poochie the dog. They'll always want to add, the wrong thing. Yeah. So Demon had his veterinary clinic, which is what he worked out of. The first in the first volume.
But he looks like the Demon all the time, right?
He does. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't suddenly become like a guy named Larry who
No. He does not. And one of the things that was established in the first volume was that he only went to work at night, so no one could see him, and then he slept during the day so that he wasn't out scaring people. Yeah. And so in the second volume, what's happened is a hurricane has destroyed his clinic, and so he is without clinic. So he's homeless and living in the cemetery, in one of the mausoleums right now.
He's free range.
Yep, that's a free range demon. Vic says, "Sorry, I'm late, folks. What's up, Vic? Good to see you here."
Well, we can start over again for Vic if we want.
You care about story. That's the problem. Well, it could be. I do care about story and think that's a lot of fun. So Divinity is they're on the move. They don't have a headquarters.
They have a car though. They just have a regular car.
Yeah. So and I don't think Barb intends to have them settle down. She wants it to be that's the kind of story she wants to tell. She wants to constantly moving.
Better as sort of a Route 66, The Fugitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible Hulk sort of story.
Well, that kind of leads to the question: with Divinity, are those type of stories? If now I'm just throwing this out there so y'all can. Do you have to be your typical superhero, supervillain story to have a layer? Because lots of books like Bone and all them kind of they don't have layers. It's.
Well, so do they have headquarters though?
Yeah. No.
Bone has a house though.
Does Divinity need a headquarters if they're not super? Do you have to be does a superhero have to have a headquarters? I guess.
No.
I'll flip it the other way.
No.
I think some of it is dictated by story because Divinity is a book where it's on the move.
Yeah.
And Superman and Batman are stories that are basically in town.
Yeah.
And so some of the others, I think Wonder Woman has a day job at the at the UN or whatever, doesn't she?
Oh,
she at least in the movies.
Yeah.
And then she
I don't think she had a day job in the the last Wonder Woman I read was the Perez stuff. So,
well, in the old Wonder Woman TV show, she worked for. She had an office job.
Steve Trevor, right?
Right. Where she's like, Steve, what are we gonna do about the whatever? And then he'd sort of bumble his way through some dumb answer, and then she'd go, all right, I'll fix this.
Hong Kong Fooey was a janitor.
That's right. No, who knew? And the Scooby Gang works out of a van.
The van.
Yeah,
that's true. That's their headquarters.
Ghostbusters had a lair though.
Yep.
They did. Yeah. James Bond had the office, right?
Well, that's Universal Exports, so that's the office that he would go to work at. But he also had I think he had an apartment or something like that. But mostly he lived wherever he was going.
Yeah. He also had because he had to show up, and they had the offices, and I don't remember where it is, but they had the offices where they always made his gadgets, right? Oh, look, James, right. we've made a new nuclear pistol, a nuclear missile pin for you, right?
Right. And so that's Q Branch, and that's usually in the basement of the Universal Exports office.
Okay, all right.
I think.
Well, and his villains often had layers, right? Because he had to
go
to some remote location on the top of a mountain, and
right. So Dr. No had the island,
that island,
on the island off Jamaica, and Goldfinger had the house in Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in You Only Live Twice, Blofeld had the volcano.
We had the New Orleans stuff in the Live and Let Die,
right?
But that wasn't all in New Orleans.
No, because I think James Bond's place of residence was in New Orleans while he was in New Orleans, but he seems like a transient where he just goes from hotel to hotel wherever he has to punch somebody.
Yeah,
and make out with the ladies.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just reminded me. Red Skull in the Captain America movies had his lair was in the mountain, right?
Right. Was it shaped like a skull?
I don't think it was.
Well, that was He-Man.
That was He-Man. Skeletor, right? Skeletor Mountain.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not a giveaway of any kind, is it?
The
evil guy lives in the Skull Mountain.
Rob says Twilight Grim operates out of the Catholic Church building.
Totally fits the character.
Yep, absolutely. Vic says John Constantine has the House of Mystery nowadays.
Well, what happened to the two characters that lived in the House of Mystery? Whatever happened to Cain and Abel? I thought Cain lived in the House of Mystery and Abel lived in the House of Secrets. I'm gonna need a historian again.
I'm gonna have to say okay on that one because I don't know.
Sherlock Holmes, he had his house, right?
Yeah,
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Moriarty had his school, if you believe that he's Professor Moriarty.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think to directly answer that question, Tommy, no, I don't think you have to be a superhero to have a and I don't think you have to have a lair or a headquarters if you are a superhero. I think sometimes those are
Spider-Man. His headquarters was the house,
his apartment. Yeah. But that's when. I think that's one of the things that I always kind of wondered is where did he make, because he made all of his if you believe particularly the original Spider-Man, he made the wristbands and all the webbing and everything. Where did he do all that? So just did it in his bedroom,
just like the rest of us when we made all that stuff in high school.
Some of it, because I remember in some of the Ditko comics, he was doing it at the school laboratory because the school apparently had some, like no other school at the time, had a full lab where he could do stuff. And he was also doing some stuff, like repairing his costume or whatever at his house.
Yeah.
With hoping Aunt May didn't sort of break in and catch him.
While he had a needle and thread, right?
Oh, Peter, you're going as Spider-Man for Halloween.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty cool.
So I think that is but I think the lair or the house for the hero or the villain becomes more important if it's an ongoing serialized story.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just doing a one-off and it's just one movie or it's one issue of a comic or a miniseries or whatever, you don't necessarily need the lair, but it becomes it's a good crutch for a story if the hero eventually gets a regular home.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a place of familiarity that your regular readers, you could start them off. Here's this place that now I'm going to mess it up. I'm about to mess up something in this character's life. But you're starting off all comfy because you know what Avengers Mansion is.
Right.
But oh no, look, the alarms are going off and we have to react to something.
Because that's like Tony Stark's Malibu Beach House. Where he had the top level was this really fancy rich man's house, and the bottom level or bottom levels was like this huge thing where he's making robots and he's got all these cars and vehicles down there. And he's got all this weird high tech equipment where all he has to do is move his finger around and stuff gets built. So
you could visit him and never know all that stuff was there.
Right? Yeah. If you're one of his many conquests, you could. You could get your shirts pressed and your dress fixed or whatever and be out the door before you even see a robot.
That's right. Let's see. Vic says Holmes also had his opium den.
Of course.
Or She-Hulk living out of the Wasp apartment. I don't remember that. The Wasp, the original Wasp was a designer. That was one of the cool things I always thought about Janet Van Dyne was that the Wasp costume was never the same.
Right.
the first, I don't know, first 200 issues.
I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, the first 200 issues is that it regularly changed from story to story.
That's because every new artist that came on board was like, I'm not drawing this. I'm doing.
I think you're right.
I'm doing this. I'm gonna make it this way now.
Well, Tom, and you know this. Sometimes as a writer, you have to write around the artist.
That's exactly true. Yes. Well, especially if you don't have any control over which artist you're going to get, and you're doing assembly line corporate comics.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to do the best you can.
Yep.
And I think that's true of the artist who doesn't always know what writer he's going to be working with.
Yep, absolutely.
You each make up for each other's shortcomings or play to the things that the other person can do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So my clock tells me it's 9:05. Any further or additional thoughts on Headquarters Secret Lairs? Do you want your character to have one?
When my books, they do.
Okay.
Yeah. So my Kid Hero books, they do. They sure do.
So when I was writing Dinosaurs for Hire, they had a place.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was their place?
They had a mansion and a pool and stuff. But in the thing that I'm doing now that I can't talk about yet, she lives at home.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily a lair per se. But then when I was co-writing Prototype with Len Strzelecki, most of the characters had a lair or a dwelling or a lab where they could do their stuff, because they were basically Iron Man type robot suits. So you needed you need a place where you can work on you basically need a garage or some kind in some form where you can repair stuff and make stuff.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like doing a race car comic or a race car TV show and never showing the garage. It's like, well, no, we really should bring it into the shop at some point.
Right. That's right.
Work on this
even if you don't address it, you want to see the race car up on, I don't know what those things are, but up on a lift,
Right.
You don't even have to say anything, but the characters can be having their discussion and there's the race car on the lift. You go, okay, cool. They're working on it.
Because also you need to have those quiet moments that can advance the subplot or the main plot where the character's not always fighting something. And so, a lair or a house or a dwelling is a good place to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Good talk. Headquarters and Secret Lairs. I struggled with the title a little bit because I had Secret Headquarters and Lairs. I actually Secret Headquarters and Secret Lairs. I said, well, I don't want a secret twice. And then I'm like, wait, so headquarters, they're not all secret, right? Lairs are almost always secret, right?
Right.
Because that in and of itself, the name is a lair, right? It's secret.
So you're writing and editing as you go along.
That's right.
But Headquarters and Secret Lairs actually rolls off better.
Yeah.
regardless of the verbal logic, it sounds better when you say it out loud.
All right. So any final thoughts, guys, as I pull up my calendar here so I can see what's going to happen the rest of the week? Any final thoughts?
I think I've had my say.
Okay. Tommy,
ramble on.
Anything?
Good talk.
Good talk. All right. On Tuesday, the gang from that Silverline show on Tuesday is going to be talking about historical horror in comics, merging fact and fear. So be sure to tune in on Tuesday for that. On Wednesday,
most people don't know that Man-Thing is a real person. It's based on a true story.
So, you know what? I've known you long enough. I'm not sure whether to believe you or not. That's the thing about it is I was like, okay, wait a minute. Is this true or is this not true? So Only thing I'm going to say is you got to tune in Tuesday to figure that out.
That's right.
Wednesday, the Whammers are going to the title for their show is "I Like Your Identity. I Think I'll Take It." They evaluate cases where the hero's identity was usurped by another character. What worked, what didn't work. What can we as creators learn from these examples? Next week, we will be here with a special guest, Mr. Jim Chadwick. Jim is recently retired from a long time at DC Comics, and he was also formerly of Malibu Comics, which is where Tom and I both worked with Jim. He is in retirement now. We're going to find out what all is planned for him in his retirement. I know that he is moving to Spain. He is going to spend. I think he must have a gal over there. That's kind of my guess. He's got a Spanish gal waiting on him. That's just my guess. But he is going to retire to Spain. So
we ask him about that.
Yeah, we'll ask him. What, Tommy? You put that. You asked him that.
Okay, I will.
And most
because
importantly,
I've never met him, so it won't.
Most importantly, he's one of the few people in comics who got out of comics who was able to retire.
That's
right.
true. You can't. Yeah. You don't retire from comics.
No, most everybody either gets fired or laid off, or has their company go out of business, or gets a different career, or whatever.
Yeah.
He actually stayed in comics and retired from comics on his own terms. So we should ask him about that.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you could probably count the number of those on just one or two hands, I would imagine. Yeah. I can't think of very many people who just retired.
Yeah, especially editors, because he was a senior level editor at DC.
Yep. Absolutely.
That seems like you catch a lot of bullets doing that.
Yeah, you would think so. And don't forget, we're launching our Kickstarter for Switchblade #3 and Crate #2 on Tuesday. And let me.
Wait a minute! You got to tell people about the current Kickstarter.
Yeah, so the current Kickstarter, Cat Mouse 4 and Achilles has landed #2. I have all of the books except for the Kickstarter editions. So I don't happen to have one in my hands, or I would hold it up and show it to you. And they look great, y'all. So hopefully, and my printer tells me that I think he told me Tuesday.
I don't know. They didn't tell me anything. So
okay. So I might get
those
them,
guys. I don't know whoever those guys are.
I might get them midweek, and then
I heard that they should be done with them tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Because he didn't have enough metallic paper on Friday, so he had.
He's got metallic paper coming, as far as you know.
He
makes
on
it
metal paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he made more Friday.
He made more
in his lair.
Yeah, in his lair.
He went and ate a bunch of ding dongs and started, smoothing out the ding dong wrappers so that he could print it on.
That's true. You don't know how true that is.
That's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut. All right. Until next week. Remember to make mine Silverline. Good night, everybody.
My name is Ross Ritchie from Boom Studios, and make mine Silverline.